Hello, and welcome to the most thought-out piece of media without being researched at all. Silent Rider. Originally, this was going to be a full dissertation on Silent Hill, Resident Evil, and a single episode of Kamen Rider. However, upon my reflection, I realized that there are a few things keeping me back from doing this. The first is I am very bad at puzzle games. The point-and-click logic of staying alive dread games just doesn't work for me. I do actually have the time to do such a project, so that's not the issue. But it would have taken months of dedication to a craft and researching thoughtful analysis and using colorful language, and I have very little of this. It would require me to live, breathe, and eat nothing but Silent Hill and Kamen Rider for the better half of next year. And, well, I can only do that with Bloodborne, so I can't really do that. But with that preamble out of the way, let's get into the meat of things. This is an important note, so please keep it in mind, as I will never bring it up again. Despite the lack of any basic real research, I have done a lot of thinking about it, and realistically, that's the same, right? Now, you may be asking yourself, what's the point of all this? Why am I doing this? What makes it worthwhile to watch this rather than do anything else with my life as the years are slowly burning away, fleeting into the abyss of timeless nothingness and void? Well, that's a complex reason. To understand fully, we need to grasp the fundamentals of the theater of the absurd, Dadaism, and all that is avant-garde, specifically the movements of surrealism in the 1960s. This is really a whole video in of itself, like a college level worth of stuff here, so I think it's best we do just a quick aside where we discuss the cliff notes of this. Now, we're going to start off with the theater of the absurd. And that was an interesting movement, which sometimes featured plays with 1 or 2 acts only, forgoing the traditional third act structure in ways to, at times, subvert traditional means of storytelling or closure. And it shined a light on the human condition and how it was, for lack of a better word, silly? Anyway. In a similar boat, after World War I, there was mass delusionment of the human condition, which recontextualized human life as meaningless for a lot more people. These frustrations, as they often do, boiled over into art, and people tried to make sense of the world again through that, or sometimes tried to reject it. It was also used as a rejection of not only the human condition, but as traditional art in general. As instead of representing anything, it was created as some sort of self-justifying piece of art that existed just for itself and for no other reason. It's also important to talk about the religious factors that played in Dadaism, and how specifically Christianity had an effect on it. See, Dadaism comes from the creator, Dada, which is a race of aliens that first appeared in the 28th episode of Ultraman's original run, just titled Ultraman, with the episode being Human Specimens 5 and 6. In this episode, the captain known as Toyoshi Muramatsu gets his own bus to investigate where there were a lot of bus crashes. Now, he brings his companion, Mitsushiro Aide, also on this bus. However, Muramatsu is put in a difficult position when his bus crashes, and Mitsushiro dies. But he doesn't want to be discharged from the ranks of space captain. He, instead of taking the blame, tries to cover up the body, burying it 6 feet deep underground. As an interesting side note, this is also where the 6 feet under, specifically, that phrase, comes from. It's very interesting. There's a lot of misattribution for it to be the Black Plague, but it's actually from here. Anyway, for the next 4 years, Muramatsu would carry on his guilt. Now, it's not until the case of Muramatsu's death is reopened under the investigation and thought of the foul play that he reaches a breaking point in his guilt. Muramatsu casts away his old identity in order to hide from the Space Forces and opens up a small snack shop somewhere else in Japan. He now goes under the name of Tobe Tachibana. As there is no proof to say this explicitly didn't happen, like you won't find any evidence that says no, this isn't the case, it means it did. Alright? Cool. However, what is not brought up and is lost in a lot of conversations is that Takeshi Hongo, just like Harry Mason in Silent Hill 1, was unavoidably brought to near death before he turned into the Kamen Rider and the series starts. No matter how many times you watch that first episode, it's harrowing, it's terrifying, it shocks dread into you as he will always be turned into the Kamen Rider. And no matter how many times you play through the Silent Hill intro, Harry Mason will always die and be brought to Silent Hill. This is a direct reference on Silent Hill's part. Once Kamen Rider is created, a man who lives a normal life is thrust into violence and murder. However, this man is not actually Takeshi Hongo. It's actually Tachibana. Kamen Rider, when transformed, just like Dada, weighs between 70 and 7,000 kilograms, and is representative of the weight of Tachibana's pain as he is going to investigate the Dada on the bus that fateful day. By this extension, the unstoppable force that destroys everything in his path, Pyramid Head, who made his debut in Silent Hill 1, is a direct reference to Kamen Rider as well. When you look at the series from Tachibana's perspective, this becomes incredibly clear. In the earlier episodes, there was a lot of darkness surrounding each shot, concealing what lies beyond the boundaries and limits of the focal points and perspectives of the camera. It was fleeting in the lights, the sporadic cuts, the darkness bleeds and lingers in, just like a fog bleeds into every aspect of its environment. A fog that could cover an entire city. Fog that Silent Hill, once again, directly stole from the show based on the darkness in the first few episodes. Silent Hill is, in fact, Kamen Rider as a whole. There's no original ideas in Silent Hill. It's just Kamen Rider all the way down. You can look it up for yourself, and you'll find nothing to disprove that. Kamen Rider follows themes of transhumanism. Silent Hill follows themes of life after humanity. Silent Hill follows themes of sorrow and regret. Kamen Rider follows themes of lost things. Silent Hill 2 literally has a song called Betrayal, and Kamen Rider literally started in an accident in which Ruriko thinks Kamen Rider betrayed her and her father and killed him. And then, just as you look at the show and what it did to Ruriko in general, and that is betrayal. It's ridiculous. And if you don't know who Betrayal's theme is, since I'm going to be talking about it for a few sentences more, it belongs to Pyramid Head. So, again, Kamen Rider and Takeshi Hongo are just the same characters in their retrospective narratives. I know that sounds like a big leap, but if you're still not convinced, please consider this at the very least. Kamen Rider was originally created to scare people, and Pyramid Head's design is also created to scare people. and Silent Hill is even a horror game. They both have core concepts at the root of their creation. Even with more evidence mounts, when you realize that they're both sexy in a murder way, they have that both unique but unconventional helmets too, which allows for striking silhouettes, something that you can make out even when completely surrounded by darkness or fog. Now, this is just irrefutable proof that Pyramid Head is an allegory for Kamen Rider. But if Harry Mason is Tachibana, and Kamen Rider is Pyramid Head, then you might be asking, well, who's Taki? Who are the Rider Girls? And who are the Rider Scouts Club? Or even who are the Kaijin? And it's perhaps obvious to say that the Rider Girls are the nurses found throughout Silent Hill. Despite the nurses being influential, they only appear in the one section of the first game, much like the Rider Girls when compared to Kamen Rider, because the Rider Girls are so important to the overall consideration of the first Kamen Rider, despite not having any personality or agency within the show. But perhaps a lesser-known similarity can be seen in their fashion. Both of them are always top-notch, and the ability to do Eshwell is consistently flawless. Absolutely no notes should be given. Where things break down a little bit is Taki. Now, it's hard to pinpoint, but the character that really stole a lot was Mary Shepard Mason. There's a few clear answers as to why, when looked at in context of Silent Hill, stealing everything from Kamen Rider, in fiction, Harry and Mary have similar names. Since we're talking about a sequel here, we'll also be talking about Kamen Rider V2. It's merely just in text that Taki and Hayato are boyfriends. This is, hardly up for debate. If you don't believe anything else in this video, then this is probably one of the two things that you should believe. We'll get to the second one later on. When you have an exceptionally gay training montage underscored by a sultry saxophone, in other words, they're life partners, so, Anyway, who else are life partners is Harry and Mary. Furthermore, Mary's initials are even MSM, men who have sex with men, a clear reference to Hayato and Taki's relationship. Now, realistically, there might be some questions here. Isn't Tachibana Harry Mason? And the answer is yes. But also, Hayato is Harry Mason. What gives this overlap? There's a few things. Firstly, after Hiroshi Fujioka got into an accident, they needed to gather Kamen Rider. Another one, not just in the show, but also in real life. This would be Hayato, played by Takeshi Sasaki. In this frame of reference, it's just like Tachibana. Hayato was thrown into a world of violence seemingly at random, his past shaded in mystery, and we never learn about it, making it synonymous with the fog once more, and the darkness that permeated the show. Secondly, is that they're both supporting characters in V3, so they're inextricably interlinked as characters. This is a writing trick that is unique to Christoph Gaines, who is the director of Silent Hill. To use more Kamen Rider characters is the same amount of characters in his Silent Hill movies. He used this writing trick because he could reference his original IP as well, Beauty and the Beast, which he directed in 2014. He thought the Kamen Rider was like the Beast, and Taki was like the Beauty. And much like the real Beauty and the Beast, Beast in his beast form is also beautiful, just like Kamen Rider when transformed. This was released in an interview on Bloody Disgusting, where Christoph Gaines says the new Silent Hill and the new Fatal Frame scripts are ready, if you want to check that one out. He also talks about the possibilities of Shin Silent Hill hopefully hitting the movie theaters in 2023 or 2024, so it's an interesting read. Anyway, this leaves us with two more things. There's the mooks and the kaijin. We'll start with the mooks, as they're easier to explain. Since there's no characters that are left in Silent Hill that we haven't gone through, the mooks are by default, and reasonably so, the generic kind of enemies within Silent Hill. There is not really much bigger explanation to this, but it's worth realizing that each mook is also a reference and a symbolism of Tachibana's guilt for killing Mitsushiro. Now, this leaves the kaijin. We're going to get a little bit more in depth with this and how they represent something with everything in Silent Hill already being represented. And to be honest, there is actually one more thing. I lied, but it's not a character. There are a few more things which did not have such easy comparisons to, and this is because what we're looking at is the representation of the joke endings of Silent Hill. Or rather, the joke endings are a representation of the kaijin. There are many, but we're going to just focus on the alien joke ending from Silent Hill 2 to narrow it down a little bit. And we're going to focus on that and how it's another synonym for Kurogedal, the 29th monster from the original run of Kamen Rider. However, before we delve into that and into the joke endings and how it's a joke that so many kaijin breathe fire, we need to take a quick break to hear about this video's sponsor. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from our sponsor, Daydream. Not our patrons, our real sponsor, Daydream. Daydream is an all-day use bed in which you can really feel like you're on a cloud as you lay down on it. Daydream comes in 4 different sizes: small, medium, and extra large, all with unique and personalized firmness scales with 100,000 thread count and 6 layers of comfort foam above state-of-the-art support foam and hybrid box springs. You'll have the best day's sleep of your life within days. Daydreams also comes with a free 30-day return window, so it's completely risk-free. All you have to do is roll back up the mattress, put it in the box, and we'll give you another bed completely free upon return. It's, again, completely risk-free. The beds start at $999.99, and the New Dream sale is going on at the time of this video's release, so you can get 50% off by using the code NEWDREAMS. That's New Dreams, all caps, no spaces, New Dreams. Additionally, if you want another 10% off the top of that 50% free of charge, you can check out the link in the description for more information. Thank you for them for sponsoring us, by the way. It was incredibly generous. They gave us even more money than the Kamen Rider Ichigo's budget had in its entire run. Anyway, back to the video. In the first half of this video, we discussed how it's a complete joke that all of the kaijin use fire, and how this trait is synonymous with the joke endings of Silent Hill. Now, each kaijin is their own joke ending, with Silent Hill F being Shocker Riders. For obvious reasons, because F stands for fake, and Shocker Rider is fake rider. Anyway, we're going to be focusing on the joke ending for Silent Hill 3 instead, and how the aliens and how that relates to Kurogeldal. So, let's talk about it. Kurogeldal is the first and potentially last jellyfish monster in the original run of Kamen Rider. In this episode, she uses a few abilities, such as electricity to try to incapacitate her enemies and the Rider crew. In the episode, Kurogeldal is also seen flamboyantly letting her image be taken. Now, take a note of these because they're incredibly important details. Because this all means she is a very public figure. She's like a poster. And this in itself is a reference on Kichiro's Tomoya's part, known for his creation of the Gravity Rush series. He wanted Silent Hill to be just like the monster in Kamen Rider and be a public figure. He designed it to scare children, and a horror game that would go down in history for 50 plus years. Just like Kamen Rider had at the time. This was revealed in the recent Christoph Gaines interview, where he said,
Yeah. Kichiro Tomoya, he really liked Kamen Rider. Liked it a lot. Shin Silent Hill takes a lot of inspiration from that. He wrote the original treatment of the film. It's good stuff. You would like the Twilight Zone.
And that quote is found in Christoph Gaines to direct a new Silent Hill film from the Dread Central interview on October 19th, 2022. However, the Kamen Rider inspiration can be seen way before 2022. You can see how much Kichiro Tomoya and his team loved Kamen Rider, because they actually remade Kira Geldal in Silent Hill 4. The Aliens ending has grays. The Kira Geldal shares similarities between the grays too. Dark eyes, pale skin, and no mouths. Even with the dancing lights scene at the end mimicking the suckers underneath her arm that was used for tentacles. But there's also one more bit to this. Like the fact that the aliens, when approaching Harry, shock him with a stun baton. Notably, Kamen Rider is also shocked by Kira Geldal's electric powers. So they're really the same. It's the same entity, and it's a direct reference. But even though I said there's one more thing, there's actually still more things, like how the intro to Kamen Rider and the first part of the Alien ending actually sync up together if you plan it right.
Go, go, let's go 輝くマシン
But even more than that, they describe the Cyclone in the opening as a shining machine, and the UFOs shine. And after that, plot happens in both Kamen Rider and Silent Hill. And what happens after that? The credits. These are just irrefutable parallels. But if Christoph Gaines is still not good enough of a source on if Silent Hill was inspired by Kamen Rider, in the 2021 video interview titled "A Project So Risky, It Invokes a Holy Crap," by Keiichiro Harada, Kirichiro Tomoya recommends the final episode of Kamen Rider Ryuki, stating that Kamen Rider Ryuki episode final is really great. So I think that's all pretty evident at this point. The fact that Kira Geldal and the joke endings of Silent Hill Origins are the same thing, and the fact that Silent Hill took everything from Kamen Rider. But one more thing, and actually one more thing. At the beginning of the video, at the beginning of this essay, I promised there was going to be a way I connected Resident Evil to this as well. Because Resident Evil is also inspired by Kamen Rider. Except it's a bit more complicated than that. See, in the joke ending, there's a voice talent agency, and that is credited under stars. So this means that Silent Hill actually takes place within the Resident Evil universe, or is a game within it, and all of the stars members are actually voice actors in Silent Hill. Now, how can we be certain of this, though? Because that seems like a big leap, and really, our answers lie within Dr. Death. Just like Silent Hill, and how it came before Resident Evil, Kira Geldal came before Dr. Death. Now, allow me to explain why Dr. Death is synonymous with Resident Evil even more. The creation of the cyborgs and the revival of them is done through magic, specifically blood magic. You can see this being apparent specifically in Resident Evil 8, where it's literally just magic. There's no virus, no parasite, no fungus, no references to anything else. It's just magic. Magic that involves crosses and stars, just like the magic in Kamen Rider, which, incidentally, are both symbols in Ultraman, referencing its Dadaism and Christianity. But that's another video for an entirely different thing. This is just a little sneak peek of what you can expect when we hit $50,000 on the Patreon, where I connect Resident Evil and Kamen Rider and the true story behind them both and how they made Smash Mouth become a band. I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Unless you're going to use words, in which case don't bother commenting. Just post different emotes and let me decipher their meaning like glyphs, alright? I'll respond to them with different emotes, and you decipher them that way, and we'll have a conversation in that sort of aspect. We'll have it be like a game of telephone until its meaning is lost and obfuscated, just like monsters in the fog of Silent Hill, or the darkness of Kamen Rider. Thank you for your time, and thank you for watching the video.